like they're easier to watch too because it's not so like answer. Now I'm gonna ask you another question. I'm not gonna conversate with you about your answer.
Exactly.
Huh? Audio?
Yeah. Audio's going.
Cool.
Video is going. Studio Candor CAYACast. There we go. That the clapper board's got a little please listen, so hopefully people will listen. But we're just gonna have a fun chat. We'd record the intro at the end because everyone has more energy, and it means then we can just get into something without it being like intro. Okay, so because that's lame.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's lame.
Reload, run it back. We've only got one bar of batteries, also we've got to make it snap. Hey.
D was brew.
Oh.
Cool. Okay. Do you want me to do the start the intro?
Yeah.
Cool. Look, sit down.
Be like people just left.
They just left. I'll do a normal CAYA, like the normal intro, and then I'll explain it. Hello and welcome.
Wait.
Ashby, come here.
There we go.
Can we pull you in for the intro?
We're filming your intro. We were gonna make
Because
our
of the
spiel.
rain,
We'll
we realized it
just
didn't
say
happen.
Noah had to run.
How's that for timing yet again? That's
Yeah,
twice
you
now.
literally are like
Literally,
magic.
when you put on the
Wow.
headphones, we were talking about like Studio Candor and Ashby and like. And then you
Summoned you.
Vulcan was just like, she's there.
With the headphones on.
Okay. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the CAYACast. We've got some familiar faces. You got Lorcan on the end, Gina over there, and we've got some new faces on the podcast. Noah was sitting there, but he had to run off and sort out some stuff with the rain. We can actually just put a video of him.
No, I'm
just,
no,
Do you want
just
me to
in
grab him?
Photoshop.
He's not doing anything.
Yeah, if he is, let's just do that.
Oh my
It's a
god.
pretty cold
Yeah.
time there in the front.
Okay, I thought
We've got both options.
it would be really funny to Photoshop.
Yeah, it would have been really fun. Well, I'm still gonna do it.
You still do it, and then
I'm
just
just gonna
replace
leave
it.
this whole thing in.
Not this bit.
Yes.
As she leaves.
No, this is good.
We're gonna have a discussion about
this is
what's
now
getting
gonna be
lit.
it.
The live podcast thing's very cool.
I was
It was
fuck
a
with
good
this a
proof
lot.
of concept vibe.
And like
Not that other people haven't done it, but like
Easy.
me
relatively-
holding up my mic to talk to you guys.
Yes, I love it. One technique.
He's in room.
Okay, beautiful. You know what we need to do to make it was just
It's wild. I mean, honestly, we've never really been approached by anyone to rent sublet space, within Candor. It
These
really,
two
the stars
episodes-
aligned.
everything's aligned so nicely.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's
Cool,
just do
let's
the
do it.
intro.
Except
You
the
guys
rain.
are busy.
The rain is not aligned.
This is
Yeah,
bonus
rain,
content.
rain.
Patreon.
Yeah,
The
it's a
rain
bonus
ain't
content.
aligned, man.
OnlyFans.
Other than the rain, which delayed the intro. Anyways,
Boo.
cool. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the CAYACast. You'll recognize some familiar faces on that end of the couch. We got Lorcan and we've got Gina, and then some slightly less familiar faces, but you should become more familiar with them very soon. We've got Noah and Ashby, who are the geniuses behind the incredible space that we're in right now, which is Studio Candor. We discussed a wide variety of things, from sustainability to ethical business ownership to some of the very real struggles that all small business owners go through, and how important community is, how important one's intent is. We had, a really incredible, really valuable conversation where there was a lot of fun. So you should definitely check it out. And without further ado, let's get into the CAYACast. Woo! That's the intro. Cool, that's it. There we
Thanks,
go.
guys.
Done
How's
and
it
done.
been your side?
Exported
Yeah,
and
no,
everything
really
deported.
good.
For me, and I like just getting in with something random and then letting it go.
Yeah.
I hear this is the last market being hosted in this space. We're at the, actually, I'm going to contextualize it a little bit. We are at the More Love market at Studio Candor. They will have already been introduced, so I'm not going to introduce them now by the time when we've done the post-production. But we're here with the founders of Studio Candor in the little office. We're a little bit secluded from the market, but we can see, and Lorcan will hopefully be able to show us some cool market footage as well.
Yeah.
Because we've got another camera. But this is the last market being hosted in this space. I really hope it's not the last Studio Candor market. So can you
Definitely
please dispel my stress?
Yeah, so this space, it's served its purpose well. It's not really designed for events. We came into it. It was basically a garage when we first moved in. Actually, this was a meat
Back in the day, this was
What is it called?
abattoir.
Yeah, abattoir.
Like
wow.
I think
Crazy.
like
Yeah,
30
and that
odd
was a
years
candy
ago, I think. Yeah.
like manufacturing floor.
That's a little like cuter.
Yeah, slightly more ethically, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyways.
like,
And then it was a garage.
but it took a lot of love to get here. Let that be
More
known.
love.
Like, yeah, more love. So when we first moved in, it was a headache.
Yeah.
Like just okay. Well, no, I won't say headache. It was exciting,
It
but
had challenges.
yeah, like the floor, because there were machines, these huge industrial candy making machines had like absorbed all this oil. So we painted like 5 times. Every time it would strip up, and it was like, paint's expensive. We didn't know that. Yeah, but so basically the evolution of the market, it needs to grow. We want to find another space where we can host more vendors, where we can have live music acts,
Better parking.
better parking.
It's gonna get better pretty
Amen.
much. So the market will stay, and we'll just
Yeah, so
keep
definitely not
growing
the
it.
end.
Definitely not the end, but
Good.
a new chapter after this. Maybe
Okay.
the end for this space, but definitely not.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the
And
beginning.
a little
yeah.
shameless pitch here.
Go,
Sorry,
do
y'all.
it. Yes.
And rather than the markets, what we're doing now for future is we're hosting workshops on Sundays, every Sunday of the month in the front. So we're gonna have a little cafe section, and it'll like all rearrange into this huge, big, long Game of Thrones style table. And you can come and make clay or like make something from clay and paint it. This is happening next weekend. So
Cool.
So there's ceramics next weekend, and then there's a yoga workshop
Yeah,
at the
there's
end of the
That's so
month.
cool.
And they've
I
got
love that.
Skechers Raw coming afterwards. So then they'll have a big lunch, and the coffee's included in the ticket price. So other fun ways of still using this space. Just these markets, we want to level them up. We
Yeah.
we want to go a little bigger. So
Absolutely.
this is kind of
We capped.
yeah.
We can't get much bigger yet.
Yeah.
Also, we got neighbors who don't like noise. So
That's always a killer.
Yeah.
We can relate.
Yeah.
For our previous location,
Yeah.
luckily
Yeah.
noise isn't too much of a
We can
problem
relate to the
anymore.
wanting to move on
Yeah,
from.
we can
Yeah.
definitely relate to wanting to deal with
Having
that
nosy
problem.
neighbors.
And I can tell you, it's well worth it. It is well worth it. I mean,
Free
one
from the
thing
shackles.
that, I
Yeah.
mean, if you haven't been to Studio Candor in OBS, it's 3 Scott Road. Am I making that
2
up?
Scott,
2
2
Scott Road.
Scott,
I mean,
4 Scott.
so
2 and
close.
4.
yeah,
kind of
if you come to 3 Scott Road, you'll find Studio
4,
Candor.
6,
Like
8.
Number
You won't
3 is
get
that
it.
door between
Yeah.
the two.
Exactly. So definitely, yeah, if you haven't been to Studio Candor in OBS, you need to. I remember me and Gina have been through the space kind of from early on
Man,
when you
super
moved
early.
Yeah, you
in.
guys
and
are
then kind of
regulars.
every, and so it's been really, really cool to see it.
The evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
have seen like so many of the markets. I actually had someone
Yes.
come up to me the other day and was like, "You guys have such little fans, Gina Alpert."
Oh my gosh, she's famous.
Oh my god!
Look at that. Look at that.
I was like, it was Holly Kane. I don't know if maybe we
Oh,
cut
yes.
this.
Oh,
Okay,
Holly,
yeah,
shout out
I
Holly.
love Holly.
Yeah, such a sweetie. She interned with us for a while, but like honestly, that girl is on a fast track to being better at fashion design than me. So
She's incredible.
I'm
Like her
bowing.
graphic design is
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
she's
and of itself
awesome.
is incredible. Check out Holly Kane. I think her Instagram's Hey White Rabbit. Go
Ayo,
check it out.
that's it.
Or one of them is. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it started out, in that first in just the front space, and then it's kind of slowly grown as a space, and you guys are now kind of doing all the manufacturing back here, but opening that up as well for people to see. And yeah, I mean, I remember like when we used to go and fetch from, I forget the address in Rondebosch,
an
when there
actual
wasn't
store.
an actual location.
Yeah, wow.
Sure, yeah, we
Um,
would run. We were on the 3rd floor, no lift, so it was up and down, up and down. I mean, honestly, my
Neighbors.
quads, though,
Yeah.
I miss it.
Yeah. Like what that journey, I mean, from starting Candor, walk us through from starting Candor. It's not been a long time. And
Oops, sorry. One of my machines.
Yeah, let's go back to the very beginning, because I mean, I'm actually not even clear. Like, when I first met you and I heard your accents, not that people from abroad can't live here, but to, like develop a business and
Yeah,
I
let's
don't know,
make that
just
very clear in
feels-
South Africa's current climate.
get rid of you.
But like, yeah, like when did you come here? Like where what is the starting point?
Tell us
of
the story.
Candor?
Yeah, so I've always been really interested in sustainability. And a part of my degree, I graduated from the University of Colorado Boulder, was in sustainability. I did sustainable design and architecture. So that really plays into pattern making, except cuts out the all-nighters and the crying and the
That's the best part
harsh
of it,
sides
though.
of architecture, like, was not cut out for that. And yeah, I mean, I would even say this idea started when I was little. This is embarrassing, but here we go.
Go, do it. Yes.
Dun, dun,
We
dun,
love
here
dun,
comes
embarrassing
Softies
childhood
debut.
stories.
So I have these softies.
Hell yeah.
Basically, these just very nice fabrics that are very soft, and I keep them in my bed. I always have had them. I've collected more and more over the years. I even bought one for Noah. And I sleep with them on my eyes, and I like tucking them in my neck. I think it just makes me feel like safe. And so love affair with fabric. Let me not go any farther before you think
It's not weird.
concerning.
It's
Becomes
not
a fabric
weird.
smut podcast all of a sudden.
Yeah, so the fabric is where it all kind of started. And dead stock, working with dead stock, you never know what you're going to get. It's really exciting. It's really inspiring, and it's quick. And I'm a bit hasta at heart. So that quick side of fashion design really works for me. Like, I've got the fabric. I'm making something the same day. It's done the same day kind of thing.
Run and gun, instant
Yeah.
kind of like reward.
Quick on my toes. I think I'm getting really far away from the initial question. That's the old
Just
nerves
the journey
kicking in.
into Candor and then what that's
Yeah,
been
okay.
like kind of growing through COVID. I mean,
Yo.
a lot of the people we're talking to are like COVID startup businesses,
Yeah.
which is really interesting. And,
Like
and I
us.
want to hear, especially,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
It's super interesting.
yeah, and especially as kind of spaces. I mean, we opened a physical, not quite retail, but a physical usage.
I think
space.
anything physical now.
And
Yeah.
you guys have, in COVID opened a physical retail space, and I just think that's super interesting. So I want to get into like how you went from being purely online, and then the growth and the need, and why you wanted to, make that move into physical in a time where physical retail was just not doing well.
Well, I think to your last point, we found we were really looking for quite a specific space where we could do not just manufacturing, but everything. And we had the idea of events from day one. And so the space was really quite something that
We were really inspired by Rowdy, that
Yeah.
if you guys know Rowdy bags.
Yeah.
So they were
Factory shop.
That was an inspiration, and I actually spoke to the owner a couple months ago. But so we wanted to get into a space that could be multifunctional. But I'm fascinated by what the reaction in business and industry from COVID, how it's been. It's been really challenging. But I think if you're aware of it and a step or two ahead, you can really make it count in your favor. So we started online, as most, people do, starting a company and retail and clothing. I mean, Ashby was running around and to and from, and we had all was running out of the apartment with a friend, and it was amazing. It was chaotic, but it worked. And it slowly evolved, but it was incredible. I mean, we founded the Instagram page, went live what was the day? Like
The
2 weeks
Instagram-
before lockdown.
Yeah. It was like
it was
10
like-
days out.
But then I feel like people were on their phones and people were stuck at home, and
No,
there was that
everyone
was- No other
initial
choice but to
There was
engage.
that initial engagement, and I think we just stuck to our kind of hearts and just kept going. And we like hard work, we like challenges, and I think it just evolved. And together we play off each other's strengths really well. And
I mean, it's crazy to think that if it had launched, even that 10 days later, where would we be?
could have been different. That's just we
Like-
really just believe that this is where we're supposed to be right now. And
And COVID's definitely posed posed a lot of struggles, you know, waves. Just as things would start to pick up again, a new wave would come
it's been
in, and it
super
was like,
challenging.
oh,
I mean,
great.
I think
Please,
everyone
no, don't
doing
leave.
something has so many challenges right now. But again, if you can crack it, you're gonna come out so strong.
Yeah.
And that's our mentality: is we gotta survive, and then we'll dominate.
I wanted to ask I want to hear both your kind of like viewpoints on this, but obviously COVID poses the biggest challenge when starting a brand while there's a worldwide plague on. But outside of COVID, what would you say was your biggest challenge or your biggest kind of like obstacle? It may not even have been the most serious one, but that one that just kind of would not get solved no matter like what
That's a great question.
you would do for it.
And how did you
solve it?
Or how are you in the process of
Solving
carry on?
Still
Yeah.
But Ashby can kick it off. There's so many, I think.
Okay, let it be known. I love all my employees. I love you guys. I know you probably watch this.
Shout out.
Yeah. Not that we have a ton.
But we've had in the past.
Yeah,
like,
it's
figuring it out.
I mean, we're young, you know, and neither of us have business degrees. You know, we're learning how to be good leaders and trying to be fair. You know, Candor is so grounded in fairness and compassion and kindness, but there's also this level of professional and like respectful
almost,
and you know, yeah. And I think
It's
it's just been a bit of a challenge there where people have come in and almost approached it like it's a bit more corporate agenda, whereas it's like, no, we gotta all bust ass to get shit done here, like to put it blatant. And I feel like we're pretty transparent about that. You know,
we have been, yeah, but it was new to us as well. Like,
and it is hard. I
it is
mean,
super
like
hard
it
and-
takes a certain kind of person to be able to just wake up every morning and work all day.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
and
difficult.
like you guys,
You gotta love what you
you're
do.
familiar with
Exactly.
that because
Exactly.
you've.
I've just been sitting here going,
and it's
Brad's getting
it's not
flashbacks.
even employees. It's just people.
Yeah,
They're tricky,
it's
and it's when you work
exactly
together,
communication.
customers. It doesn't matter. Human beings. But we love human beings, and we want to create something with human beings.
yeah.
But I think employees and just
Yeah.
workforce through the years, are like
Yeah.
it's just challenging because we really want to do it so well, and that's why I think it's hard because we want to go the extra mile and we want want really that connection with everyone we work with.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we're really trying. And
That
it's-
shows like
I
Yeah.
hope so.
It is reflected.
your like care and passion for the brand and the company and the community. Everyone feels it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's nice to hear that because that's really such a big
Yeah.
part. I mean, it's huge and we love what we do. So we grind, but it's worth it. It's so worth it.
Yeah, and you know, like sometimes it's hard to be honest. I always think about like somebody you love gets a tattoo and you really hate it, and you're like, I love it. It looks great on you. Like, okay, those kind of little white lies, sure. I'm not going to pretend like they don't happen sometimes. But, you know, being really honest with yourself and tapping into your own truth and holding that space, it's also difficult. Like, I find myself to be a very blatantly honest person but I'm also a very sensitive person and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but I also like to say it how it is because I know you skip fiddle farting around if you can just be real, like, and it's not personal, it's business at the end of the day, but we're also humans and we like, you know, we have so much love and capacity to share, but you know, that balance, I wouldn't even say it's about the employees. I would say it's more about Noah and I finding that balance of
Yeah, maybe it's
Being-
us, not them.
wow, we've gone full circle
No,
here.
that's a great point. It's, you know, I think everyone finds it hard working with people from school to professional lives, but that's a really interesting point from Ashby. We're figuring so much out. We're so young in this, and we've had, you know, we've obviously got the skills to continue, but we're learning so much.
Yeah, and it's a jolt, you know, like we do have a lot of fun. Like You know, Clarence Ford is blasting on the radio all day. I'm learning my Afrikaans slang on the sly, you know,
Incredible.
like Volje Dala.
Nice. You pulled off Joel very comfortably. That was good.
That was very casual. Yeah,
Slipped in there. I mean, I think, Gina, did you have something you wanted to say like a while ago?
Yo,
I saw you edging towards
so
the
many
microphone.
things have passed. I think the one thing was just like maybe not the only positive, maybe one of the only positives about COVID is like it was a time that people really, you know, were supporting local business more than ever.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever that reason was, I feel like as a society we really turned like inwards, if that makes sense. you
Yeah,
know,
big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
because-
actually nice, like to touch on this market today and why it's not a shindig. Like the More Love Market, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we, you know, while we were kind of brainstorming what to call it, if it should be a shindig, if it shouldn't be a shindig, you know, is it going to be the last one? We were just thinking about, you know, going into winter and the winter blues, and it's cold and things are like a bit harder in the winter, and it's even harder to get people to come shop. You know, we have to, there's so much strategizing just around that because people want to stay at home where it's warm. And, you know, today it's just so nice to have all these local vendors who want to be here and, you know, be a part of what we're trying to create and showcase their awesome products and, you know, and just spread love.
Yeah.
It's so much more fun doing it with friends and people. I mean, I think I would call all the vendors friends of Studio Candor, and it makes it more fun. It also strengthens numbers. You
Community,
can,
man.
You
Like,
can make a change if you have that community.
is all of it. We have someone listening to the podcast.
Someone's
Hooray.
listening.
Welcome.
Nice jersey.
Do you have a question for us? This is a mic to do a Q&A.
If you have a
anything,
question
anything you want to know.
The pressure's
Ashby and
on.
Noah, the owners of Studio Candor.
Or be, of course.
Oh gosh, can we hear?
Oh, wait, I just
Can you guys
realized
hear
we
me?
can't hear that. That's such a... open the door if you have a question.
Open the door and speak into the mic.
What are you guys talking about?
Okay, well, that's actually
More
I do.
love
My
market.
next question was
Can you
for
hear?
people who, for people who don't understand or understand who Studio Candor is, what Studio Candor means, even Candor the word. Can you give like a brief summary of what is the Studio Candor story and what do you want to tell people with the brand?
Cracking question, by the way.
So, candor, I guess is just a start, is the quality of being open and honest, frankness. That's its, you know,
It's
Merriam-Webster,
definition.
textbook. But to us, I mean, whenever I get asked this question, I always kind of like freeze because we try to do so many things. So my brain's like, what do I talk about first? But I think like the biggest
Core.
thing is that we're slow fashion. You know, we have this emphasis on sustainability by using dead stock fabric to lighten our carbon footprint. And dead stock fabric is small rolls of textiles that have been dyed the wrong color, you know, and then they don't want to be picked up anymore by the company. So now they're just, it's sort of like paint. That's a good way to think of it. Like if the paint comes out the wrong color, then they put it on the shelf and it's like 10 rand.
Yeah.
Sustainable slow fashion.
Yeah, because so many, I mean, the textile industry, it's horrible to the earth. I mean, it's the number one polluter in industrial water waste. It's, you know, the toxic chemicals from synthetic fabrics. It's just, it's really it's causing so much damage to the planet that something has to change. And people don't talk about it enough because everybody's got to get dressed in the morning.
Yeah.
So I think Candor's approach is, okay, how can we put the light back on the people who are making the clothes? Because so many, I think a lot of the general public, you know, at least I did before I educated myself, thinks, oh, there's probably a machine that makes t-shirts at this point.
Yeah.
It's like, this is all done by humans, and the vast majority of them are exploited. And it's really harsh working conditions and long hours. I mean, if you're not familiar with the Rana Plaza building collapse, you know, there were over 1,000 people that died in a building, and they were begging the manager of the building to do something. They're like, there are cracks in the walls. You know, our children come with us to work.
Maintenance is needed.
Yeah, it's necessary.
And I think maintenance on the largest scale of consuming and people. I mean, it's just this population keeps growing, and as Ashby said, humans make the clothes, and it's and we don't hear about it much. How the exploitation is.
And there's it happens everywhere. You know, this isn't just in the Middle East or in Bangladesh. You know,
It's all over the world.
It's all over the world. It's here in South Africa. It's right down the street from us. It's not, you know, there's this hidden veil in the fashion industry that is just about what's on the shelf. You know, you see the product and you buy it, and, you know, companies like Shein churning out thousands of styles a day, and it's super hectic. I mean, what's cool, what I love the most about Candor is that the pieces, I think of them as fleeting moments of time in time. You know, there's only so few ever made. So like if you were to walk down the street in one of the new hoodies that just came out and pass someone else in that same hoodie, you know, you would want to be like, wow, I know there's only 8 of these in the world. This is really
Like a
cool.
collector's
Like
item.
it's a connection. It's that candor.
Yeah. Sure. That was
So we've got
spectacular.
such big
Sorry, cut you
dreams,
off.
and but I think just we'll do this every now and then, and you can keep up to date. With
Yeah, I'm so keen to do
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I could talk for like another hour
Yeah,
about
there's
all
so
the
much.
things.
One thing I like about your approach, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is an observation I've had, is that you don't exploit exclusivity, because I feel like in the fashion industry, that's something that a lot of brands do with like a clear conscience almost. It seems like they're like, okay, we're making an exclusive item. We know people are going to really want this, so we're going to sell it for a ridiculous price, where it actually limits the
Yeah, it makes it
target
inaccessible.
market. Yeah, it makes it
Yeah.
inaccessible.
It's
so I'd commend you for
exclusive
that.
in the wrong way.
That's
you
just
know?
our model, pretty
Yeah,
much.
we definitely try and counter gender binaries through fashion and through what we create by creating gender neutral clothes.
Yeah, that's something we haven't touched on yet.
Yeah. And sometimes people will come in and be like, "Can I see the stuff for men?"
looking at it.
Sometimes I'll be like, "Well, we're gender neutral," and then they're typically like,
Roll the eyes.
"What's that?"
And but then it's opportunity to educate, which
Yeah,
is also
exactly.
such a big part of the company is education. And in all that we believe in, I think it's the core of Candor is good. So we try and educate on the core of it, and whenever there's opportunity, we just try and teach
because
something or mention something.
Fashion should be about expressing yourself. I mean,
Exactly.
and there's actually, you know, in the coming months, we'll be releasing this video. Kind of a friend of mine shot it, and it's just kind of taking you through the store, and I do a voiceover and talk about our story. And in it, you know, I shock myself every time we watch it because we get a lot of feedback on it still. And in the beginning, I say, fashion gave me a chance to, you know, figure out how to express myself and what made me feel beautiful and what made me feel good. And like, I didn't have to worry about what I was doing because of what I was wearing. And that's, you know, like that's sinking. You want to feel empowered by your clothes and not like restricted.
I mean, I'm wearing Ashby's pants and it feels great.
Yeah,
He is.
no, it
feels
feels
great.
often me and Gina swap our candle stuff.
This is a sweatshirt from the women's section of the Adidas store. Shout out
Amen.
Richard Nisi.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Yeah, if it fits, it's comfy, just rock it.
I mean,
if you like it, rock it.
The
It's a
other
very
day,
liberating feeling.
Brad and I went to a
exactly.
shop and there was a dress, and I just wanted to see what it would look like him. Granted, it wasn't the right
wasn't the right
style. It wasn't the right fit,
Wait,
but that's
I need to
basically
see this.
it.
Is there photographic
We have a
evidence?
picture we'll show you afterwards. But it wasn't the
It'll be
right
on
fit.
screen.
But the people in the store were like, you could see they were a little confused.
They were like,
but
what
like,
are you doing?
I feel like
That's
we
not for
need-
you.
And I know it's not a given now, but hopefully it will be in the future to move past that, because it's exactly what you said.
I think it
It's
will.
about expressing yourself.
And it's
Yeah.
also like quite archaic and Western.
Yeah,
the whole, like-
I'm in the market at the
Men
moment.
have
mean,
men have been
kilts?
wearing kilts,
Yeah,
skirts, robes.
Exactly.
You know,
Just the way you
Loincloth.
construct meaning
Yeah.
behind it.
exactly. Decolonize your thinking. Let people wear dresses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South
and
Africa
I mean-
Burn, it was really
Well-
nice to see that there was like so I've been a couple of times, and this year there was a lot more men in like skirts. I know that the tutus are like a kind of like a
Africa burn
quarter
standard.
piece, but there was a lot more men in just like dresses or sort of what you would call feminine clothing, which is really great to see because I think that's going to be such an important step towards breaking down the gender barriers. It's just
We had a
destigmatize as much as
We've
possible.
had a couple of interesting conversations over the last couple of days about like gender and masculinity and femininity. Actually, we had a couple within the last couple of days. We spoke to we worked on a podcast. It's called Inside the Mind, hosted by a guy called Sibs, with the South African actor Sivan Ngesi.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, you've almost definitely seen him in a good few things. He's a comedian, he's an actor, he's a presenter, he's
and an activist,
wildly talented. He's a really, really passionate activist, particularly for feminism, but like looking at masculinity and deconstructing masculinity. And if you Google, he's so fascinating because he's a straight man, and he's also he competes in bodybuilding competitions. He's like he's a competitive boxer. He's so on one hand
he's like got the like extreme masculinity.
But his point was he was like, if you Google me, the second picture that comes up is me in a dress because I'm also a renowned drag performer.
Wow.
And I'm a South African, like I'm a nationally renowned pole dancer.
And
His whole thing was just like, and the interviewer said was like, what do you feel about like, are you reconstructing masculinity? That kind of a question. I'm badly paraphrasing him. And Siv was just like, nah, dude, I'm just redefining what my masculinity means.
And
I think like,
amazing.
and it's just like, guys, not just guys, but like, let's stop. And then we had a really interesting conversation about femininity at Africa Burn with the hosts the part of the team from the Vaginarium, which was the huge vagina at Africa Burn.
I saw
and
photos.
Also really interesting conversations around like gender and feminism, femininity and masculinity. And I think it's just cool that we're the companies like yourselves, that there's media figures like Siv who are just doing, expressing themselves in the way that they feel comfortable, and companies like you guys who are providing ways for people to express themselves how they feel comfortable. And then I think the other aspect of that is how do we have those conversations as openly as possible? And I think that's what things like this are for, is like, cool, we can, like, I love that the last week we've been able to, we were on that podcast with Siv, which touched on one aspect of it, and then we did another one which was touching on the Vaginarium and femininity.
We got the male perspective,
having this conversation, and it's also linked, but without having these conversations, we wouldn't know that. And I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, and I think companies with like strong ethical stances like yours, you're showing people that it is possible. It's like, we're a local company, we're making, sustainable fashion, whereas like, and yes, it might be difficult, but it's so important to show people that it's possible, because then you might think twice before, like doing your Shein haul or whatever. Because my thinking is with there's limited availability. Like, I wish there was more Studio Candors, not in the same sense, but people doing what you do. So
I think there will be.
Yeah. So I think that's why it's important to talk about it. Yeah.
I think the next 10 years are going to be so exciting, and it's
and what's nice about
cool.
What we're doing is that we are going to be all for it when it happens. Corporate entities are like, no, let's push them down. We don't want any competition
at all costs.
No, we uplift each other. Like, surely we could have a Studio Candor market where it stretches all the way through and we fill it up with just Candor products. But no, like, what is the fun in that? Where is the diversity? Where is the, just
no point in having
curation.
a feast without any guests.
I think, it's such a common thread of, I think there's a lot of companies coming up in Cape Town who are, in this industry, and like Gina said, there's an ethic, the core ethic is fundamental in driving where that company goes and what they do. And I'd like to include us in that. I hope I. No, we're all good. Where the ethic drives everything that happens, and that we're having conversations around, we're not going to get it right all the time. I think, running a company that's really good for the people around it and in the community and, in the team and extended is often, that's not the most profitable way to run a company. It just isn't, because you can make a lot more money exploiting people and selling people under it. And it's like, that means by definition, odds are it's going to take longer than it
exactly.
could have.
For me, I think it's the long game completely. It's 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And you put in the work now and you build.
Because working with that in mind.
Oh, completely. It's not short term. This is real kind of long term stuff. And we're putting ourselves in that position where we can think about that and then work towards it, because we don't make money for like a day. It's for the next 6 months and the next year and the next 5 years, and that's at least my outlook on it.
And in the light of transparency and being transparent, I think a lot of people think Candor does quite well. Profitability wise, and we've got a lot of break-even months. It's not easy at all, and Noah and I have to totally immerse ourselves and remind ourselves like this is a dream. Like it's okay if we're not making a bunch of money from it, because it's not about money, but also we can't be pulling from savings every month to pay rent. So that's also navigating that balance.
I just think we're so lucky as well, and
we are, and
I
really
think if
grateful.
it just humbles you. I think. I mean, we're so fortunate to be in the position where we're able to do this and have this conversation and have all these people outside, and then everyone come and buy stuff. I mean, it makes it so worth it. It's like, it's really hard month on month. It's just making all the overheads and carrying on. But
in the interest of transparency, same. Like that's just like being a startup, and your first 5 years of a company, any company, are hard.
That's
as
why. Gotta be something that you enjoy.
Exactly.
Otherwise,
Gotta love what you do.
You've got to be in it for 10 years, because the first 5 are going to be hard. I think, people.
So you guys you founded when just into lockdown, or?
No, about just over a year afterwards. Like we started thinking about it
middle of
2020.
So you knew, we didn't even really know what was coming, but you guys knew what was happening.
So that was, that's obviously
possibly
I think
naivety.
Lots of naivety.
I'm joking.
Anyone who starts a company is naive, because you don't know what you're getting into ever.
Always a risk, COVID or not.
Your first company, some surprises. Always naive.
Man.
I mean,
my first one was
this market alone. Like I was like, okay, Monday, here we go. We are getting ready for the market. It's going to be a breeze in the morning. I'm going to rock up. I'm going to take a shot at tequila. I'm going to meet everyone. And it's going to be epic. And if you saw me this morning, like tears in my eyes, darting, just is never the case.
It
Like there's
happens.
not enough planning in the world.
Nothing will go smoothly.
I always think we've prepared, we've got everything down, and then it's like time to go. I'm like, what?
I mean, but what I love about what for me has been the thread through this conversation is just, it's about people, and it's about being in community and working together. And you guys touched on it. You were like, when there's that other kind of someone doing something similar to what you guys are doing, like you're going to platform them and help them grow, because and I think it's something that we've always tried to push is like, you can like be kind of successful in isolation. You can be your one-man army and you can get some success out of that, but like that also becomes how do you define your success? Like, is it you can be a one-man creative company or whatever in Cape Town, or a small team, and you're sticking it alone, and it's you versus the world, and you can make some money out of that. I think
and also maybe that's what that person wants. It's I think we want to connect with people, and we want to grow the community. Community is it's such a big thing at the moment, and I think in the world with companies and brands, community is a big thing. But but it's an interesting point.
It's
that,
human
and-
beings, man.
Yeah.
And for me, it's one brand could stick it on their own and make a name for themselves as this brand. Holy hell, they made it out of Cape Town.
Yeah.
But or we work together, and you have
We all
everyone
make it
on the
out.
same page,
Yeah,
and then
I
it
think-
becomes. Holy shit, have you seen the Cape Town fashion scene?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
there's like 100
Yeah,
companies
exactly.
and they're sustainable and ethical.
Yeah.
That's a
Holy
great
shit,
way to
they're
put it.
changing fashion.
Yeah,
making it.
It just it benefits everyone then as well, because next year you got more people coming in because they know Cape Town's like a fashion hub, and so it's very it's
And
very
I mean, it
interesting
feels
one.
like there's
think
more
it's
and more
a-
attention coming to the fashion scene at the moment, and
Oh,
that's
big time,
because
yeah.
of young brands
Yeah.
and younger people in the industry who are collaborating at scale
Yeah.
and working on maybe not always within the industry, because that can be hard, but that does happen, but just in the like community and
Yeah.
the culture at scale, and I think that's just spectacular.
well, like
It's raining.
It's raining.
No.
Okay,
Oh,
so
boy.
we're gonna wrap up really quickly then.
Yeah.
If you
Okay.
guys need to go deal with stuff.
the weather on the mic.
Same.
On the
Once
mic.
again, unpredictability.
Thank you
Great,
so
yeah.
much, Ashby and Noah, for being on the
Thanks.
CAYACast. Really appreciate it. They've got to go deal with a crisis.
Guys,
That's
it's
what happens when the
raining.
buck
It's
stops with
pouring.
you.
So
Thank you so
lovely.
much for this
Thank you
conversation,
so
and we'll
much.
definitely do another one. Much
be
love.
Yeah.
When you're done, we'll do your intro.
Well, that was great. There we go.
I think it was pretty much 45 minutes.
Incredible.
cool, great. That was
Yeah, we were
very
aiming for half an hour. Thank you so
We'll do your
much. That
intro
was
a little
great.
bit later when there's time.
Oh, yeah.
The set's the same. You go.
You go deal with
Put
the
out fires.
crises.
I'm not gonna lie, Noah. I'm glad that today it's not mine.
Yeah.
Today it's not mine.
Not on us.
But yeah, thanks. Yeah. You go.
Baba booey.